You are listening to the Marketing 32 Show with your host, Brett Allen.
Hi, Brett Allen here, host of the Marketing 32 Show, where I connect with leading dentists, influencers, and industry experts to uncover the latest and greatest, the insights and innovations to help your practice grow and thrive. As always, this episode is brought to you by our team here at Marketing 32. We are the only dental marketing team that I know of with the performance guarantee that if you're not growing, you don't pay. It's that simple. We're truly invested in your growth and demonstrating that impact. I want to build a team that's the most ethical dental marketing team out there. And so if you need help with growth, if you need help with marketing, set up a call with our team at marketing32.com. We can go back and forth on your goals and see if we'd be a great fit to work together. Quick shout out to Dr. Arun Garg. Recently had him on the show. He does a lot with implants, Implant Symposium, CE, also a owner of a multi-group practice and a DSO. We talked all about implant marketing and how that can be successful for your practice. So if you're in implants or looking to add that to your practice, check out that episode with Dr. Garg. Excited to have a new friend on the show. Dayna Johnson is with us today. She is a dental practice management expert, podcast host, and the founder of Novoni, revolutionizing the dental industry through innovation and strategic leadership. Through her life's work, Dayna's goal is to empower dental teams to live up to their true potential, provide guidance that transforms challenges into opportunities, and help dental professionals have the thriving practice they've always dreamed of. Dayna, excited to have you on the show. Thanks for coming today.
Thank you, Brett. It's a pleasure to be here. And we got snow this morning. For the first time.
Yeah, we did.
This year.
Yeah, if you guys are watching on YouTube, I don't know if you can see out there, but
there we go.
A lot of snow up here in Evergreen, and you're in Denver area, northern Denver, right?
Yeah, just north of Denver. Yeah, we're a little bit lower elevation than you, but we both got, a few inches for the first time in 2025.
Yeah, the first big snowfall is fun. Yeah. It's a winter wonderland out there.
I love it. It's so pretty. Yeah, so thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. I'm excited to go deeper with you about practice management softwares. I know that's how you work closely with teams and getting the most out of the PMS and how you can integrate that and get all of that figured out. But before we go into those details, tell us more about your journey and how you got into dental and into what you're doing in dentistry.
Yeah, which is kind of why I love software so much, because I kind of fell into dentistry. It was not my career path of choice. I was on a completely different business marketing path, and in college and all the things. And, I was in college working. I was doing a internship at the marketing department at a local bank up in the state of Washington. That's where I'm originally from. And I was doing a paid internship, going to college, and about 6 months into my internship, the bank I was working for filed bankruptcy, and I was all of a sudden out of a job. I was 20 years old. I was already married. I had already bought a house. I had bills to pay. I had a mortgage, and I needed a job. And so I went to work for my Uncle Dave. He had a computer company that installed computers and networks and software into medical and dental offices. And I was all of a sudden in, year 1989, 1990, somewhere around there. Wow. I was all of a sudden building computers and stringing wire through ceilings and on the floor with screwdrivers, installing computers. And that was my introduction into the dental practice, was through tech. Yeah. And then I went to work for my first dental practice up in the state of Washington. I ended up working at 2 dental practices in Washington state. The second dental practice I worked in, I went to work for this dental practice, and I walk in like the first day, and there was 2 computers in the office. One was in the office, doctor's office, and one was at the front desk. DOS-based software. I mean,
okay.
C://
I remember writing those commands. Yeah.
File cabinets full of paper charts. And I'm like, I had just gone back in time, seriously. And, so it was my goal to get this practice upgraded with computers and new software. And like, that was my ultimate goal. This was in 94, I think,
Mm,
94. And my doctor was not going to have any part of it at all.
mm,
And so finally, like in 2003, he finally said, okay, we're going to upgrade. We're going to get new computers and new software. And Dayna, you're going to lead the charge. So, I did all my software demos, and we did end up purchasing Dentrix back in 2003. And when I first got Dentrix software, I really struggled with it because like lack of training, lack of
mhm.
onboarding, just no training at all, no resources. We didn't have anything like that back then.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I really struggled. And so in 2005, I became a certified Dentrix trainer, really
Mm,
not thinking I was going to go out and train. I really just wanted to be an expert in my field and to be an expert in my office. I really just wanted to
mm,
learn more about the software. But
mhm,
what transpired was I started being the Dentrix office manager blog. I started speaking from the stage. I started, going in and training offices and helping them transition from paper charts to electronic health records. And then my career, just exploded. And then in 2014, I actually left the dental practice and now I do full-time software onboarding and workflow optimization and speak from the stage and do my own
wow.
live events. And so now everything's kind of just blown up. But it definitely didn't start out that way. But yeah, I
That's
love it.
awesome.
I love
Uh,
what I do.
that's cool, and I imagine you see a lot when you work with teams, you see a lot of missed opportunities or problems or,
Yeah,
friction with a practice management software, and,
definitely.
you do these local, in-person events where you're
Hmm.
working hands-on with teams and things, or maybe even, in person at the, client, in the practice, hands-on
Yeah,
with the practice.
for sure.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about what are some some tips that you can give our listeners to get the most out of working with their teams, and what are some pitfalls, challenges that you see with what you do?
Yeah, I think probably one of the biggest challenges I see is the and how I started, the lack of training and the lack of onboarding with software. It's like our whole entire day revolves around software. We're scheduling all day, we're producing, we're collecting, we're writing documentation, we're doing everything in the computer. And and so what I see is, in our industry, we have a huge turnover and lack of staffing, and we have a
Mm,
huge
mhm,
hiring and keeping team members. And so right now I'm seeing just a lot of lack of training. And so team members come in to a new practice and maybe they're even coming in from outside of dentistry. And they're like, okay, what am I supposed to do? And, the office is so overwhelmed that they're like, okay, just start doing it, and they're like, well, where do I
yeah,
start? And, so there's a real lack of onboarding process, which leads to, um, people are still using a lot of manual systems because they don't know how to use the computer. So I still see a lot of post-it notes everywhere and three-ring binders
mm,
for
yeah,
patients that want to come in earlier. Or, I see offices using, notebooks for following up with patients that have unscheduled treatment or things like that. So, there's still this lack of efficiency because of the lack of onboarding. And, so that's my ultimate goal, is to help offices with resources and training and onboarding. And and the other thing that I see a lot of is um, overlapping or redundant softwares trying to work together. You know,
mm,
um, if your PMS, your practice management software It's like Grand Central Station. All your patient data is there. All your systems and processes are there. All your accounting and your production and everything is in the PMS. But then you need something for texting or
Hmm.
electronic forms or onboarding or online booking. And so then I see sometimes there's an overlap. They're using 2 or 3 different third-party softwares, and they're spending so much money a month on all this redundancy. And so I see a lot of that as well. That's a big challenge that I help offices to streamline what you're using, reduce the number of dashboards that your team is having to log into,
Right.
um, reduce that overhead expense of all different softwares, and so that's been one of my biggest priorities, is to help offices streamline their software.
Mm. Yeah, imagine you see how teams are inputting the data too, right? There's
Mhm.
probably like garbage in, garbage out kind of thing, right? Like we've
Exactly.
seen when we try to work, we have an integration that we built that integrates with the PMS so we can track marketing dollars spent to production
Mhm.
generated, which is
Good.
awesome.
Mhm.
But we also, in building that integration, we uncovered that if you're trying to attribute patients to different channels of marketing, depending on how the team puts that data in, when you go to
Mhm.
run a report, it may not
Yes.
actually pull it all because instead of saying Google, they say search engine. So, do you see that too as like how they're
Yes.
putting the data in? Is
Yes.
that,
That is
yeah.
such a great point, because one of the things that I will one of the most basic things we could start with efficiency, like saving your practice time, saving you headaches for finding information, and saving you the redundancy of, sorry, this whole sheet of ice just fell right in front of me. It just scared me.
Startled
Um,
you?
it did. One of the things that we could give your listeners is this tip sheet on, okay, where should I make notes, right?
Mm,
Um, One of the things that we could do right now is get everyone on the team consistent with, where should I document this piece of data?
mm,
And because if everyone on the team is documenting information in the same places, then you're not hunting for information. And also, we have to think about the practice management software. I mean, this is your legal record. You know,
yeah.
we're a healthcare provider, and we have to think about um, if we get subpoenaed for information, for documentation, or if we get audited, we have to be able to provide documentation. And if everyone on the team is putting things in different places,
Mm,
that could be really problematic. And so, that could be one thing that I could share with your audience, is a free tip sheet on, okay, where should I make notes? Because in the
mm,
Dentrix
yeah.
software, I'm a Dentrix trainer. In the Dentrix software, there's about 12 different places we could document things, and so one person on the team may be putting it in this place, and another person may be putting it in this place, and then it's like, where'd you make that note about, Mrs. Jones and her financial arrangement? So that can be really, really helpful. That could save hours for,
Yeah.
just finding information.
That would be great. Yeah, I know your website has a lot of valuable videos, resources. Should we just send them there, or do you have a specific link for this uh,
Yeah, I have a
tip sheet
specific
that you
link.
want?
Yeah, I have a specific link I could send you, and that way they could go straight to this one tip sheet. But you're right. I mean, if they go to my free resources page on my website, they can find. I mean, I'm almost to, like, I've done 187 podcasts, and I have a YouTube channel. So there's lots of great information for free. And and then if we want to deep dive even farther, we have I go into offices and I have the membership, and I do in-person events. So there's lots of other ways we could connect.
Great. Okay. Well, if you're listening, we'll put that into the show notes. We'll link specifically to that tip sheet resource in the show notes. But I want to tell you her website right now is, and I'm saying this wrong, aren't I? No, Nobany?
You can
Navoni?
say, yeah, everybody says it a little different. I say Navoni.
Navoni.
Yeah. And
So it's
if you want to know what Navoni means, there is a video on the Who We Are page. I made a video on
okay.
how I came up with the name. So
Great.
you
I
can watch.
love it. I
Yeah,
think that's cool.
people
So
ask.
to spell Navoni, it's NOVONEE.com. I think it's
Yes.
a great domain too. It's short and sweet.
Yes. I
Um,
like it.
yeah.
Catchy.
Okay, great. So we've touched a little bit on practice management softwares, teams working in there, and things like that. Let's talk a little bit about. I know you just told me you got back from the Greater New York meeting.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
it seems like every dental event I go to now, there's this new AI thing, or new PMS thing, or
Yes.
bolt-on thing that rides on top of it. Let's talk
Yes.
about the progression of PMSs and what's out there today. What are you seeing as kind of the great new things that is happening in the industry, or any kind of tips around that with
Yeah,
software that's out there?
absolutely. I don't think we could leave this podcast without talking about AI. And
Right.
so, I mean, AI is definitely the new shiny toy. And
Right.
we know that AI has been around involved with imaging for several years. We've had
Right.
AI that has been able to be a kind of a an assistant to our treatment planning and our diagnosing. AI has been in imaging for a couple of years. Where we're now seeing AI come into the market, in the dental market, is with scheduling, answering our phones, writing up clinical documentation, um, and also with helping us find the right image for our claim, things like that. So AI, insurance eligibility and verification. So AI is now involved in probably 60 to 70% of what you do every day. um, if you are doing insurance eligibility and verification with most of the platforms, you are probably using some version of AI with that, because
Mm.
AI is able to contact the carrier, get benefits, pull benefits, and
Oh,
even
wow.
sync benefits into your practice management software. AI is now able to answer your phones when you are not available. So we do know that more than 60% of patient appointments are booked after hours. And so if you want to stop missing phone calls after hours, get
Yeah.
an AI receptionist to answer your phones. So
That's interesting.
that
Yeah.
there are a lot of options for that.
Yeah. And we're seeing that in marketing too when we're running ads.
Yes,
People work during the day, and yeah,
for
they
sure.
may have time during their lunch break, or they may have time throughout their day to call and get that appointment scheduled. But if you can tap into those windows where patients are, they're winding down for the day, they actually have time to sit and think about the other things that their family needs. And if you're closed and you don't have online scheduling and you don't
Exactly.
have some kind of way for them to connect with you and get that appointment scheduled, the practices that do are going to get
Yeah,
that appointment. And
100%.
so, yeah, yeah.
100%. We have to embrace technology,
Hmm.
and we have to be open-minded about how can this technology help me and help my patient. Patients want convenience, the offices want efficiency. And
Yeah,
so, automation can help with both of those things. And we have to be open to those changes. Yeah, so
awesome.
so I saw a
Yeah.
lot of really amazing AI things at the Greater New York meeting. Probably one of my favorite things was Dentrix is going to be launching in Dentrix Imaging Center, which I think is fantastic. They're going to be launching this new like 5-star rating for the image. So if the clinical assistant is taking an X-ray, and the X-ray gets a 2-star rating or a 1-star rating, it will also give you the AI will give you recommendations as to, okay, how can I make this image a 5-star image? And it'll
Cool.
tell you exactly what you're missing in that X-ray. So you could retake the image right away, get that
Oh,
5-star
cool.
image. Yeah, I thought that was one of my favorite things.
That is neat.
Yeah, definitely. And then, because one of the things that can happen is if you have a bad image, your claim's not going to get paid. So it can financially
Oh,
really
interesting.
hurt the practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
The other thing
Fascinating
that I
stuff.
yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. Keep going. Yeah.
Yeah, the other thing that I thought was probably one of the best things coming on the market is transcribing for clinical note documentation. You know, our clinicians, I know they're busy, they're overwhelmed just like everyone else, and a lot of times don't get their clinical notes done. But if you can transcribe it, and then the AI agent can mold it into this beautiful soap note for you,
Nice.
and then you just have to review it.
So you just
That's
dictate it and then it puts it
yeah,
into
exactly.
the software for
You
you.
just dictate it.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
exactly. And so that's a game changer, especially for these doctors that still take charts home to write
I
up,
know.
right?
I walked into a practice up in Boulder. This is 2 weeks ago. It still had paper charts everywhere, and
Yeah.
they were adamant about not going online. They're like, "This is what I'm doing." The doc was probably like 70 years old or whatever. This is what we do. And I had another practice of ours that said they do have an online. I want to say they're Open Dental. I can't remember
Okay.
which one it is, but they do have online. But they got exposed to a hacker
Mm.
and got all of their records like taken hostage or whatever. They had to pay all this money or whatever to get their stuff back. I don't hold me to Open Dental. I don't want to badmouth any particular PMS, but there was some kind of loophole that they got hacked into, and so they still have everything on paper because they have this fear now of this happening again, and then they also have everything on in the cloud, and so it's like, that just it seems
Re-
like a nightmare to try and do
Duplication.
two places. Yeah.
For sure. Redundancy will kill you when it comes to time management. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that can be really dangerous. It's like, and that's why these software companies, practice management software companies are adamant about approved and authorized API connections, is
Oh,
because
yeah.
if you're using an unauthorized API connection through a third party software to
Mm.
access your Dentrix data, I mean, I know everything about Dentrix. So, if you have this third party API that's not authorized and approved, then that's how hacks happen. I mean, that
Oh,
is
yeah.
potentially how a breach could happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
What's
so
so I know we can kind of jump a little bit. This is such a fun conversation. We only
I know.
have probably a few minutes left, but
Yeah.
um, it seems like you're a Dentrix expert. What are the other platforms, or what's it's what's your favorite, or and what ones do you recommend?
Well, of course, I'm going to recommend Dentrix for private private practice. I mean, my heart and soul is preserving private practice. And so I don't think there's a practice management software on the market that is more feature rich and innovating than Dentrix. I
Wow.
strongly believe that.
Okay.
I've seen them all. And now, there's a lot of softwares that have come online. Open Dental is really popular. And it has third-party integrations, it has everything that you need to run your practice. Dedrix Ascend has been built from the ground up. It's been around for probably
Hmm.
upwards of 10 years. It is the one of the best cloud-based software. So if you have
Right.
multi-location, Dentrix Ascend is great for multi-location. Same with Open Dental. Anything that's in the cloud is great for multi-location. And I know that Archie is new on the market. Um, EagleSoft is. I think EagleSoft is struggling a little bit to keep up with innovation.
Oh,
Um,
really?
yeah, and then But those are probably the big players. I think Dentrix Ascend, Open Dental,
Is your favorite?
Arch,
Yeah.
and Archie are probably the best ones on the market. The strong players that are keeping up with innovation, keeping up with updates. Because that's what you need. You need a software that is keeping up with technology.
Evolving with
And
time. Yeah.
exactly, exactly.
That's great. Well, I know we're about out of time. We could probably
Okay.
pick your brain even more and share advice. There's probably a ton of advice you could share to help teams get the most of how they work together and in their
Yeah.
PMS. But what would be, I always close the show with this question. What's that one golden nugget that you could share, that piece of advice that would just really have a ripple effect, that one domino you could push it over and has a huge epiphany for them? What is that?
I think if I was going to speak to um, all the office managers out there right now that have been working in a practice for a long time,
Okay.
embrace embrace automation and embrace technology. Okay. I know you love your paper systems. I know that you don't want patients doing online booking because you want to control your appointment book. But ladies and gentlemen, that is one thing that if you could open your mind to things like online booking and having an AI receptionist answer your phones and after hours, and open your practice up to automation and giving your patients those conveniences, it will change your life in your practice. I guarantee it.
That's a great, yeah. Embrace the change. I mean, with
Embrace the
online marketing,
change.
ChatGPT, OpenAI just said they're going to be rolling out ads. And so that's going to be another platform that you can advertise on.
Mm,
It's already disrupting how we do online marketing, and
yes.
patients are more and more going to AI to find out
Hmm.
information about procedures and dentistry. And um, that's
They will.
changing. So if you, staying on top of what's new and working with a marketing team and experts such as Dayna to really leverage what's new will
Yes.
keep you ahead of the game.
Agree.
I wanted to ask you one other question, because I talk to a lot of practices, and um, some of them don't think they need marketing because they're booked out 6 months, right? That
Yeah.
new patient
Right.
calendar, if you want to get in, we're looking at May or June. And it's like, oh my gosh, if you say
Yeah.
that to a new patient right now, you
Yeah.
might as well say, go to the guy down the street, um, or go to the other dentist. Um, so what do you, from a new patient standpoint, like columns, what are some things that practices can do with their PMS to maybe find that extra room for a new patient? Do you
They
have any
need to be
advice there?
using they need to be using block scheduling. They need to be using
Okay.
in the Dentrix world, it's called perfect day scheduling. You have to have perfect day scheduling in place in order to have reservations available for new patients, for your 3 and 4 month perio maintenance, for your SRP. We have to remember that 50% of adult Americans have periodontal disease. And so
Wow.
for every 10 new patients, you need to have at least 5 open time slots for SRP, unless you're going to refer it out to a periodontist. So
Mm,
new patient blocks, 3 and 4 month perio maintenance blocks, and SRP blocks have to be blocked out in your schedule in order for you to get patients in on time.
yeah.
Um, Now, if you're booking out, 6, 7 months out, and you don't have room for a new patient, then you know, there's a lot of things that they could do differently. But they can't use that as an excuse for not doing marketing, because when you stop doing marketing, then you stop sharing with the world what you're really good at. What
Mm,
do you want everyone to know that you're good at? Implants,
mm,
ortho, sleep, whatever your specialty is. If you stop marketing, people don't know who you are, what makes you different. So,
mhm.
um yeah, you can't stop marketing just because you're booked out. That's a scheduling problem. That's not a marketing problem. That's a scheduling problem if you can't get a new patient in the next 2 weeks.
And maybe it's time to explore. adding an associate. If
Yes.
maybe adding another op if you can bust out that wall next to you and buy more space, or
Yeah.
adding another hygienist, or
Stay.
all
Yeah.
those things.
Add an associate and stay open till 8 o'clock at night. I mean, what's wrong with that?
Yeah. I was in a practice yesterday, visiting with them. They have specific days where it's just hygiene only, and so the doc's not even there. It's just
Yep.
hygienists doing
Yeah.
hygiene.
We used to do that.
And yeah, yeah,
Yeah. We used to do that a lot.
lots of things you can do. You
There's
guys,
lots of things you could do.
you got to
You
reach
know.
out to Dayna to find out what those things are. If you don't know who she is, or if you need help with that advice, consulting around PMS and your team, um, reach out to Dayna Johnson. She's a wealth of knowledge.
Thank you, Brad. I
So
appreciate it.
yeah, this has been so fun. We're out of time now.
Okay.
I guess we send them to your website if they want more
Sure.
information. If they want to schedule a call with
Yep.
you, go to one of your events, navoni.com. We'll have that in the show notes. Thank you so much today, Dayna. This was a fun conversation.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, guys, until next time on the Marketing 32 Show, have a great rest of your day and an awesome Christmas season. Take care.